Now, MK or Milton Keynes is a city in Buckinghamshire. The city is actually situated in between Birmingham and London. MK is famous for its access to public arts, and notoriously its roundabouts. The city is relatively small, with the population of MK being around 287,000 residents, which is less than the London borough of Lambeth alone. Now, from an outside look in, MK looks pretty safe, with people even stating the area is posh and rich. However, what a lot of people don't know about is the ongoing deadly gang war between multiple gangs in and around areas within MK and nearby Bedford. Now, MK actually has a few gangs and offshoot sets, which makes the beef quite complicated. So for simplicity's sake, I'll only really be mentioning the main gangs involved. Now, the most notable of these gangs is the 614 gang, which has gained recognition in recent years due to a rapper named Lil Max blowing up in the wavy drill scene and gaining millions of views. Anyways, the 614 gang is referred to as 614 due to the gang being based around MK6, which is the area of Fishermead and Oldbrook, and MK14, which is based around the Conaborough area. The 614 gang has close alliances with gangs around England. This includes the likes of 6-7 and Harlem Spartans, with AK from 6-7 even filming the music video to his popular song titled No Reply within Conaborough. A member of TPL from London also dual reps 614, this being Loco. However, 614 is just one of the gangs in the CMK or Central MK area. Another gang that is affiliated with 614 is that of 970, which is based in Central MK. However, the gang is also based around Madrid in Spain, with a lot of the youngers coming from Spain and MK. The 970 set often recruits young members from both Spain and MK, with 970 often backing 614's beef. The final gang affiliated with 614 and 970 would be the gang Old Brook Green Gang. This set is based around MK6 and is referred to as OBLVD, which stands for Old Brook Boulevard. This set is heavily allied with 614. All three of these sets have affiliated and have started to back each other's beef. However, other subsets have emerged in recent years. This includes the likes of 4TP and GWP. However, for simplicity's sake, I won't be going that deep into these subsets. These gangs often go by CMK, as these gangs are all based around the center of MK. Anyways, we can't talk about 614 and their allies without talking about their opposition. Now, Bletchley is an area within MK and has become a violent area in recent years. The area of Bletchley has three gangs involved in the beef. These gangs include the Upper Third Gang, which is based around the Chester Close and Mellish Tower estates. However, this estate has been demolished in recent years. Now, only a 10-minute drive from the Upper Third Gang's territory lies another gang involved in the beef. This gang is referred to as LA, or Loyalty Anything. The LA gang is based around the Lakes Estate area of MK, which has gained a lot of attention in recent years due to the violence taking place in and around the Lakes Estate. Another small street gang has become prominent in recent years, this being the GPD or 13th Gang. This gang is based around areas in West Bletchley and also Heelands, with this set also sharing an affiliation with West Bletchley gangs and beefing CMK gangs like 614. Now, these gangs are often mistaken to be cool with another set in West Bletchley referred to as B3. However, B3 has nothing to do with anything in this video, as they mostly focus their beef towards a local gang known as M4, with this beef dying after two M4 members were killed in one night by B3. However, I just wanted to clear up that these two gangs have nothing to do with the gangs I'll be discussing in this video. The final gang I'll be discussing that has a rivalry with CMK is the gang IC3, or Black Tom, based in Bedford. This gang would ally with the Bletchley gangs, with this alliance focusing all of their beef towards the CMK alliance of gangs being 614, Old Brook Boulevard, and 970, with this rivalry even spanning over 20 years. However, it has received little media attention, with it still continuing in the streets. But you may be confused as to why these gangs all have a deadly rivalry with each other. The beef between these gangs would begin around the early 2000s, particularly the years 2001 and 2002. However, during this time, the beef mainly consisted of the Old Brook area and Fishermead area beefing the West Bletchley area of MK. Around this time, the Old Brook gang would go by SBM Green Gang, or Old Brook Green Mandem, and the Fishermead gang would be referred to as FTS, or Fishermead Terror Squad, whilst their opposition would simply go by West B for West Bletchley. Now, both sides have had tension with each other, most likely due to members selling drugs on territories home to other gangs. However, it would be around the late 2000s that two people would be killed due to a falling out within the Fishermead Terror Squad, this being the deaths of Amin and Mo. On the 26th of May 2011, two drug dealers from Fishermead known as Amin and Mo would have a falling out with other FTS members. The FTS members would plan to line Amin and Mo, and on the 26th of May 2011, Amin and Mo would be forced to beg for their life, with it even being said that Mo was begging whilst having a machine pistol aimed to his head. However, despite him pleading with the other member, he would sadly be shot in the head. However, the FTS member wouldn't stop there, and would also shoot Amin in the head for no reason, with his affiliation to Mo being the main reason he was shot by the members. Both of the men would be killed on the the scene, with police arriving shortly after the double murder and launching a murder investigation. This investigation would see 2 members of the FTS gang arrested. This would include a member known as Fuad, who would even travel to the Netherlands to get the gun used in the attack. Police believe the motive for the attack was allegedly due to Mo and Amin trying to snake Fuad to rival gangs for drugs and money. Both members would be arrested and would be charged for the double murder. Fuad would be given 38 years, whilst his co-defendant was given 32 years. Rest in peace, Amin and Mo. Following this double murder, the gang war between FTS and West B would begin to explode, but FTS and SBM Green Gang wouldn't actually be affiliated yet. However, around 2013, they would actually become allied and would continue to beef the West B Mandem. It would be a few years later, around the mid-2010s, that new youngers would start repping each side. This would include Max, who was Lil Mac's older blood brother. Anyways, the new youngers on each side would start to form gangs, one of these being 614. This included Fishermead, MK6 youngers, and C Block, MK14 youngers, with them continuing to carry on the beef with West Bletchley gangs. It would be around this time that 614 youngers would actually start rapping. This included members like Sila, Pabs, and Trapo, who would drop a song around 2017 titled Crashers. This song was very disrespectful and dissed many West Bletchley members. They would also be observed throwing up a K onto the West Bletchley sign being a W. Separately, a member of 614 named AZ would drop a music video on the Mellish Tower block, which has become Upper Third's main territory in recent years. This was relatively unheard of in the mid-2010s, with bside being the only other group to really do this, with their rivals being Penge. Anyways, stabbings and shootings would be very common between the gangs. Later on in 2016, a 614 older would be stabbed by West Bletchley members and left in critical condition. However, he would luckily survive. This just shows that the beef was getting dangerous. However, this wouldn't compare to 2017, when the beef would become a war. 2017 would roll around, and the young members of each gang would start to get very active in the streets. A group of these 614 youngers would ride out onto West Bletchley's territory and would spot an affiliate of the West B gang. The 614 members would then jump out onto him and stab him multiple times. They wouldn't stop there and would also stab the West B affiliate's friend, with both members being left in critical condition. However, luckily, they would survive the attack. This attack would fuel the beef even more, with West Bletchley members actively trying to get retaliation for the stabbing months prior, and it would be months later that the first person involved would be killed within the beef, this being a 614 member known as SK. On the 13th of September 2017, a member of 614 named SK would be trapping out of a house within Eaglestone, MK6. Another member of 614 would also be with him, this being Hypes, who was also in the house. At around midnight, a gun would point through a window in the house and would be shot multiple times. SK would be hit in the chest as a result of the shooting and would die on the scene, with Hypes phoning police following the attack. Police and emergency services would arrive on the scene moments later, and a murder investigation would be launched. However, later on in the investigation, 2 drug dealers would be arrested for the attack, these being 2 unknown trappers. Both would be charged and found guilty for the murder. Now, the motive for the shooting was actually revealed as the investigation went on. Police believed that Hypes, who was a 614 member, had robbed the attacker. The attacker would seek retaliation following him being robbed, so he would get close with another member of 614 and would get the drop on Hypes. The 2 members would run through MK looking for the bando. They would find it in Eaglestone, where SK, Hypes, and other 614 members were present. The attacker would then aim through the window and mistakenly shoot SK in the chest, missing his original target being Hypes. Both members would be found guilty and given life in prison with a minimum of 30 years. Rest in peace, SK. A lot of this information has actually been televised, as Channel 4 actually made a documentary on catching a killer, the episode titled A Bullet Through the Window. Following the death of SK, West Bletchley gang members would begin to mock the incident loads. This included an unreleased track titled Unknown Identity by a 3rd member known as Strapz. He would rap about the incident, rapping,
Big hype's the fucking reason that you man screaming out SK's world. Deep inside these feeling so guilty for punning our fingers got sent to hell. I was laughing at sister.
As 2017 ended and 2018 began, members from 614 would start to get consistent in the UK drill scene. This included a 614 member known as AZ, who was really putting on for the gang musically around this time. 614 was also becoming a very large gang around this time, with it being alleged they have around 300 members throughout MK. Anyways, it would also be around the mid-2010s that Lil Mac's older brother would begin to drop songs. He would drop a song titled Stupid around this time, and would also drop a music video on GRM Daily in 2017, this titled Rise Up. This wouldn't gain a lot of attention, with it currently only sitting on around 63,000 views. However, it would be Mac's younger brother that would make waves throughout MK, this being Lil Max, who would begin to get active in the streets around this time. In 2018, West Bletchley members would start to go by different names. This included several different names like D6, 3rdSide, and Anti-6. It would be around this time that they would also drop their first official song in 2018, this being titled No Hook. The members on this song would represent D6, and would be known as Strapz, Shax, and Gatboy. This song would feature many rude bars towards 614. It would also be around this time that 970, which I spoke about at the start of this video, would become a lot more prominent, with them recruiting members from Spain and MK to rep the gang. However, it would also be in 2018 that IC3 from Bedford would start to get involved, with IC3 members even killing a rival known as Jemz, who allegedly repped the London Road gang also in Bedford, with the death of Jemz being extremely dark and gruesome. On the 16th of September 2018, an alleged member of the London Road gang in Bedford, known as Jemz, who was only 16, would be chilling with his friend. What he didn't know was that IC3 or Black Tom members would be on the lurk looking for ops. They would spot Jemz and a fight would ensue. The IC3 members would stab Jemz multiple times. However, the attack wouldn't stop there, and the attackers would then hit Jemz with a hammer, all whilst recording the attack on Snapchat. Sadly, Jemz would be pronounced dead moments later, with police and emergency services arriving moments later. Following the attack, a murder investigation would be launched. This saw the arrests of 4 IC3 members, who even had a drill song uploaded before the attack titled Creep on Dem. All 4 members would be found guilty and would be sentenced for the murder. This included one of the attackers being sentenced to 21 years, and the other 3 being sentenced to 17 and 16 years. Rest in peace, Jemz. Following the death of Jemz, members of LA and IC3 would begin to affiliate with each other. This was mainly due to previous IC3 members leaving the gang and joining LA, which was in West Bletchley. An example of this would be a member known as Ramps, who is now a Lakes Estate older. However, he would rep the IC3 gang previously. It would be around 2019 that the beef would begin to get hot again, with 2 West Bletchley members riding out onto 614 territory and stabbing a 614 affiliate multiple times, leading the member to get airlifted and taken to hospital. However, luckily he would make a quick recovery. The 2 attackers would allegedly rep the Anti-6 gang and West Block gang, and would be known as Strapz and Gatsboy. They would be arrested following the attack and would be sentenced. However, the violence wouldn't stop, and a 614 member known as Mitch would sadly become a victim to the streets. On the 31st of December 2019, a member of 614 known as Mitch would be picking up a drug package in Oxley Park, MK, when a rival member known as TY or Tariq would spot Mitch. An altercation would occur between the members. However, this would prove to be deadly, as TY would retrieve a knife and would stab Mitch in the chest. TY would flee after stabbing Mitch, with police and emergency services being called to the scene following the attack. Mitch would be rushed to MK Hospital. However, despite attempts to save Mitch, he would sadly be pronounced dead hours later, with another murder investigation being launched. TY would be arrested following the attack, along with his girlfriend, with both of them being charged with murder. However, his girlfriend would be cleared of the murder charge and assisting an offender. However, she was given an 18-month sentence for being concerned in the supply of Class A drugs. TY would be charged with the murder and would be found guilty in October 2020. He would be handed a life sentence with a minimum of 20 years. And on top of that, TY would also be given an extended 3.5-year sentence for supplying Class A drugs. Rest in peace, Mitch. Following the death of Mitch, IC3 members and 614 members would begin to actively beef, as IC3 is allied with the West Bletchley gangs. Anyways, in 2019, IC3 members would be chilling around the Xscape in MK, which is a massive recreational center within MK. Anyways, 614 members would also pull up to Xscape. The 2 sides would see each other and would begin to clash. 2 614 members would be stabbed in this fight and left in critical condition. Following this clash, the IC3 Black Tom members would flee, and this further fueling the 614 and IC3 rivalry. CCTV images would also be released following the attack, showing all of the people involved in the fight. This just being another act of violence that would take place in the streets. However, luckily this time no one would be seriously injured. 2020 would begin with a new generation of youngers starting to rep the West Bletchley gang. This was due to a lot of the older members going to jail or jumping off road. It would be around this time that a new set would become more prominent, this being the gang Upper Third, which would contain deadly youngers that would carry on the beef with the CMK alliance. The older name D6 would also be dropped by the youngers, with many new names being thrown around. Examples of this include TD and 3.5. However, for simplicity's sake, I'll refer to them as Upper Third. It would also be around 2020 that 614 members would begin to make noise in the underground drill scene. An example of this would be a song titled Brazy, which would be uploaded onto mixtape Madness in September 2020. This song song featured two 614 members known as K-Sav and Rondo. Viewers around this time would be quick to point out K-Sav's potential with him being a very cold rapper. It would also be around this time that one of the biggest rappers to come out of MK would start dropping, this being Lil Max, who would drop a song titled Top Floor. This was released in October 2020 and wouldn't gain much attention. However, Lil Max would be experimenting with his style around this time, with a drill rap freestyle even emerging, showing that Lil Max can also spit on drill beats, with him seriously flowing on this freestyle. However, Lil Max would decide to stick to the wave rap, and this would seriously work for him, as he has now built a crazy fan base, and can even be heard dissing rival members in songs. It would be around the time that Lil Max would be blowing, that the violence in the streets would be continuing. Another set was created around this time, this being 4TP, which was another set in Old Brook. However, this set would just be a small collection of members that are allied with 614 and the CMK Alliance beefing Bletchley and Bedford. The younger generation of both of these gangs have proven to be deadly, with some people even stating that the younger generation of these gangs would be more ruthless than the older generation. An example of this would be on the 3rd of October 2020, when a younger member of the Lakes Estate gang would go to the Center MK Shopping Center, which has become a place for gang rivalries due to how bait it is. Anyways, this 14-year-old member would go into a McDonald's when he would spot rivals from the 614 gang. The Lakes Estate member would be referred to as MSav and would have a shopping bag on him at the time. The 614 member would demand that MSav hand over his bags. However, when MSav would refuse, he would then be stabbed in the head by the 614 member, who would flee after the attack. Police and paramedics would be called following this attack. However, MSav would luckily make a recovery and would be discharged from hospital days later. Following this attack, CCTV images would be released showing the suspects in the attack walking away. Due to all of this violence going on in the streets, police would begin to pay attention to all of the gangs, with arrests being made around this time on prominent members. However, it would be a month after this stabbing that a person linked to the beef would be killed. On the 7th of November 2020, an alleged trapper known as Yung Lzz, or Louis Wenman, would be stabbed multiple times by a 614 member referred to as RZ, with the stabbing apparently stemming from an incident between Yung Lzz and 614 youngers, resulting in tension, with it being known that RZ actually met up with Yung Lzz before stabbing him multiple times. Following the stabbing of Yung Lzz, RZ would message Yung Lzz's girlfriend on his phone telling her that her man got smoked. Following the stabbing, RZ would flee and emergency services would be called to the scene. However, despite their best attempts at saving Yung Lzz, he would sadly be pronounced dead moments later, with a murder investigation being launched. This saw RZ being arrested and charged with the murder, and later in 2021, RZ would be sentenced to life with a minimum of 16 years. Rest in peace, Yung Lzz. Following the death of Yung Lzz, tension between Bedford and West Bletchley versus CMK would escalate. In 2021, a fight would break out between 614 and West Bletchley members outside of a Five Guys near the X-Skate, with CCTV images then being shared online following the attack. However, luckily no one would be hurt in this incident. Around this time, another fight would occur between the gangs, this being in the CMK Mall when a group of men would get into a brawl, knives would be produced and punches would be thrown. However, luckily no one would be injured seriously, with a man being sent to hospital with a broken nose and cuts to his head. Following this attack, CCTV images would be released in an attempt to find the perpetrators. However, they were never found. This much violence going on in Milton Keynes would result in all of the gangs involved gaining attention, with a lot of these members starting to release rude diss songs towards rivals. Around the end of 2021, a new gang would start to get active in the streets of MK, this gang being known as GPD, or Get Paid Daily. This gang was based around Heelan's MK13, but also has links to Lakes Estate in MK2. This gang would affiliate with LA from Lakes Estate and would focus most of their beef towards 614 and the CMK gangs like OB. 2022 would begin, and this year would prove to be deadly, with two members involved in the beef sadly falling victim to the streets. Now, the first person that would die in 2022, I cannot mention due to legal reasons. However, this person would be killed by a Lakes Estate member known as Justice, who would be found guilty in recent years. It would be a month after this that a member of Upper 3rd known as Claudz would fall victim to the streets, with members of 614 even mocking the death of Claudz, with the likes of Lil Max sneak dissing him and gaining millions of views in the process. In March 2022, a rapper from the set Upper 3rd known as Claudz would rob a 614 member's phone. This member was known as TTG and would be looking for retaliation after he was robbed by Claudz. 614 members would then take trips to Upper 3rd's block multiple times during March in order to catch Claudz. The members wouldn't stop there and would even travel to his house in order to retrieve the phone. However, it wouldn't be until the 28th of March 2022 that the 614 members would find their retaliation, with this sadly ending in Claudz losing his life and a 614 member being sentenced to life in prison. On the 28th of March 2022, a member of 614 known as TTG would spot Claudz and an altercation would ensue. This altercation would sadly end in Claudz being stabbed multiple times and left to die. The 614 member would flee and retrieve the phone, and Claudz would be rushed to hospital. However, despite attempts at saving Claudz, he would sadly be pronounced dead hours later. With a murder investigation being launched following this, TTG would be arrested and would be charged for the murder. He would be found guilty and would later be sentenced to life with a minimum of 25 years. However, many people believe that TTG didn't actually commit the murder but instead took the fall for it. However, I guess we will never know. Rest in peace, Claudz. Following the death of Claudz, 614 members would begin to mock the incident loads. An example of this would be when Lil Max would rap on a song titled It's Up, rapping "I'm from the block," where Claudz got smoked out of luck. He would also rap on a preview rapping which just shows how regularly this guy was mocked by 614 members, so much so that I actually hear people rapping Lil Max bars dissing Claudz without even realizing. Anyways, rest in peace, Claudz. Following the death of Claudz, members of 614 would ride out onto MK13 territory home to the GPD gang, and would stab a GPD member multiple times following a discussion about which area the GPD member was from. Luckily, he would survive, however he would be rushed to hospital. However, the violence would only escalate, and in December 2022, 4 members of 614 would be caught by members of Lakes and GPD, and all would be stabbed in the same day. This would go on to be mentioned in exclusives released by Lakes members and GPD members. Another video would surface showing the 4 614 members being pressed before the stabbing occurred. It would also be around this time that members of the Lakes gang would begin to rap, with a member known as Jemz dropping a cold song titled Real Veterans, where he would pay tribute to Claudz and also diss 614 in the lyrics. He would also drop a song titled Live, which would gain a lot of attention in MK. It would also be around this time that a member of GPD or 13th named Jays would be stabbed in the head by 614 members, leaving Jays unconscious, leading him to be hospitalized. However, he would make a recovery. This incident was also rapped by Lil Max in his popular song It's Up, where he rapped, "Jays slipped up and got cut." Since the stabbing of Jays, more shootings and stabbings have continued in the streets. However, they aren't documented in the news, but instead in unreleased music uploaded by the gangs, with these songs painting what's really going on in MK. 2023 would roll around, and only a few months into 2023, a well-known member of 614 known as Menace would be released from jail, and would be quick to start drilling on ops again. In July 2023, Menace and other 614 members would take knives and a sawn-off shotgun. These members would travel from Fishermead to the Lakes Estate, which was home to rival LA gang. Anyways, the 614 members would spot 2 Lakes Estate members, and would start to chase them with the shotgun and samurai swords. One of these members would attempt to shoot the shotgun. However, the gun would jam and wouldn't shoot. What the 614 members didn't know was that police were on the way to the scene, as people had reported seeing a shotgun. The 614 members would begin to flee. However, police would catch up and arrest Menace from 614. He would be charged with the attack and would be sentenced to 5 years in August 2023. Menace is well known in the underground drill scene, as he actually has a few leaked songs and has proven to be a cold rapper, with him even having an entire song dedicated to dissing Lakes Estate, this song being titled Lakes is Shit, with the song even featuring a sly diss towards an op that was caught in a Milton Keynes subway, with him rapping.
I'm printing their vids like, look at these miskins, Lakes is shit and their whole block begged it. Molly got caught in subway, broski back the rampo and the off-way legged it.
Since this incident, many more violent acts have occurred between the gangs. However, if you have learned anything from this video, it should be to stay away from the street life, as realistically this life only leads to either jail or death, and rarely leads to anything positive. Rest in peace everyone in this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe.